Hello YouTube. This video, something a little bit different. This is a Canon EOS Elan. When I got it as a bunch of stuff I got all together. And the problem with this one was, and apparently a problem with this design in particular, is the command knob, which does all the different effects and gives you control over different aspects of shutter and aperture. The knob turned freely and didn't do its job. If you haven't had one of these, one of the things you have to remember is that when you go to change function, you have to press the center, and then you can turn the knob. Apparently, a design flaw in this was that the top of this, and following this is a very short slideshow of my foray into this. Underneath the command knob is a plate that is riveted to this knob, and they're tiny little plastic rivets that snap off very easily, and apparently it was very common with cameras of this body style. And when I got it, that's what the problem was. The knob turned freely, it didn't change function. So I went online and I found a page of a guy who had taken his camera apart and fixed this. And I followed his instructions and got this one working. I don't have a battery in it right now, so I can't demonstrate anything. I'm going to link up this guy's webpage because my slideshow is incomplete. I got so wrapped up in fixing this thing that I lost track of what I was intending to do, which was take a full photo inventory, and it also was very frustrating. But I was able to do it the way this guy on his website demonstrated. These cameras are cheap. They were expensive in the day, but they were cheaply made. They do a lot of things. It's autofocus. It's got a slew of functions. You can operate it fully automatic, fully manual, different effects. I think this one has spot metering. Yep, it does have spot metering. It's got a flash. It's got red eye sensor thingama, whatever you want to call it. This camera in particular has a noisy lens. It's got a squeak in it when it moves, but it does work. In the process of doing this, I happen to lose. In here there is a tiny little spring and a tiny little poppet ball that makes the click 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 as you turn this knob. It's supposed to, you press the little center thing and you turn it, and it's supposed to go click click click. Well, I managed to lose both ball and spring, so there is no click click click. However, as you turn the knob, it does engage the various functions. So I do have a working camera. I haven't actually field tested this one yet, so I don't know how well it works. But I wanted to share this with you. It's a neat camera, and they were, I guess, pretty pricey in their day. Packed full of features, most of which are pretty useful, I guess. I don't know what else to say about it, other than if you're going to try this, if you have one of these and you want to have the same problem, the command knob is just not commanding. It wasn't terribly complicated to get this thing apart. You've got screws. You've got a screw here. There's one up inside the battery case. There's one here, two back here. You got to take off the side, and there's two screws here. And it came apart relatively easily. Top came off. This cowl around the lens barrel came off. There's connections from the body to the flash. I did not disconnect them. I left them as was, and I just opened it up and then laid it open so I could work on it. It was not terribly complicated to get this thing apart. The hard part was drilling the holes, getting the tiny little screws into those drilled holes, making sure the screws were very tiny and very short was a problem. But really, the biggest problem I had was losing that ball and the tiny little spring, and I mean tiny. When I drilled the holes, I drilled them by hand using, if you can see this is a pin vise. It's an X-Acto pin vise with a drill, and as an example, see if I can, no, it didn't come out of this set. I'm going to tell you just how tiny this hole is. I used, for my numbered set of drills, the number 60. Right in there. I don't know what size that is, but it's less than a millimeter. And I searched around until I found screws that were tiny enough and short enough to get in there. And so, did it by hand, screwed it together, made it work. Put it back together, going back together, it went together very easily. I just wiggled the top down, wiggled the front on, put the side cover back, which is just 2 screws. So it was very doable. Just it was a lot of fine work. Not a lot of parts. You do have to align when you get the thing finally screwed together and it's in its place. It does have to align with another disc underneath it, which is part of the camera body, so that as you turn the command knob, that location is being transferred accurately to the camera body. Otherwise, it was not terribly hard. I'm not sure I would have done this if I didn't want to do a video about it. I'm sorry this video is just not what it could be, but I think the guy whose website I'm going to link you to does a better job of explaining it than I would. But there will be some pictures for as far as I got taking pictures. So if you have one of these and you want to get into it, good luck, and until next time.